Hi, my name is Josh Bailey, and today I'm going to show you how to storyboard if you suck at drawing, like I do. For my film Arcadia Bay, I didn't have a storyboard artist available, so I had to do the storyboards myself. And you can take a look at them here, but my first storyboards were not so good. It's hard for even me to tell what's going on in them, let alone my director of photography or other people who need to look at it. And you can take a look at my newer ones here. They're looking a little bit better. You can at least, see the perspective. You can tell what's going on. They work. They're not art, but they're good enough. And I just want to give credit to the Vimeo user, the Silent City. That's where I first kind of learned this technique, and I've tweaked it so that it works a little bit better for me. And that original video is like 45 minutes long, so I want to make it something a little bit shorter for you guys. So let's jump into it. What you're going to need is a program called DAZ Studio. It's a free download if you're using Mac. I'm not 100% sure if it's available for PC or not. Anyways, so this program, DAZ Studio, is going to allow us to basically take a character, a 3D model, and move him around into the perspective we need in the scene. Let's put some clothes on this guy. There we go. Can't be running around all nude. What kind of film are we making here? Anyways, so we've got that, and we can pose him and move him into the positions we need. So the catch to all this is that you're going to need photos. Basically, you're going to be tracing instead of drawing. Now, if all you're having an issue with is getting the right character perspective, you might be able to just, take this character into Photoshop and then draw the background yourself if you're good enough. But for me, I really need to look at something and just trace it, because I can't just visualize it in my head and draw it. And if you don't know where you're going to shoot, you can totally use Google to search images and find inspirations for what you're picturing in your head, and you can trace those pictures. So yeah, let's take a photo of what we want to draw here. So we're going to be shooting in this area, and I found this picture I really liked, and I want to get this shot in the film. So what we're going to do is Command Shift Control 4, and we're going to take a screenshot of it, and what this is going to do is copy it to our clipboard. Then we're going to go over into Photoshop, and real quick I'll show you what I've got set up here. This is let's see, 1280 by 545, which is basically a 2.35 aspect ratio. If you're doing 60 by 9, you can do 1280 by 720 or 1920 by 1080. I just made it a little bit smaller, so the file size was smaller. Anyways, so what we'll do is paste this photo, and then we'll go ahead and scale it up here. If you're good enough, you can fill in those gaps yourself, but I'm not that good. So we'll scale that up so that it fits the whole screen. Okay, so we'll jump into DAZ Studio, and yeah, you can pose him. You'll have to mess with that yourself, but get him in the pose you want. I put him in a walking pose. Take your screenshot, paste it into Photoshop. Then what we're going to do is hit W to bring up the selection tool, and we're going to outline him. If you hit the Option key, you can delete those spaces so that we can make spaces in his arm there. And then what we'll do is hit G to bring up the paint bucket, and we'll paint him. And then make sure you paint him onto a new layer there. That's important. You can't just paint him onto the old one, onto that picture. That won't work. And then what I like to do is hit B for the brush tool, and we'll just outline kind of the necessary things here to get an idea of what his shape is, so he's not just a silhouette, unless you need a silhouette. So I outlined his ears and kind of his arms there. All right, so we got that outline. And then let's move on to the background. So let's start with a new layer, and then we're going to outline this pier. I've sped this up here. And we'll move on to the trolley. So I use the selection tool for that. Outline all of that, get that filled in. Boom. And we will move on to the pier. So again, I use the selection tool. Sometimes I use the lasso tool, sometimes I use the brush and the paint bucket. It's up to you. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of represent everything here. So we're just speeding through it here. I mean, we've got the basic idea here now. So yeah, you just make lots of layers, stack them on top of each other, and you're good to go. All right, so we'll go ahead and save it now. I'll go to Save for Web and Devices, save it as a JPEG, about 75% quality. That'll make it a pretty small file size. Looks like it's about 200 or 100K. Another option is to save it as a PSD. That'll help you maintain all those layers. That way, if you need to make changes, you can do that, or you can, leave certain elements in there if you want to copy and paste it. But that's basically all I've got for you guys today. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Stay tuned, we'll have more of these how-to sort of videos so you can see how this movie is coming together, and hopefully you'll have some practical tips that'll help you out there. Thanks guys, have a good one.